All right, everyone, welcome back to the Southeast Gassers podcast here on Shift Points. Man, we have had such a good year. This has been a lot of fun getting to talk to Randy. Coming here, Randy Edmonds here is the race director for the Southeast Gassers Association, and he has been nice enough to get us involved here so we can come in here and talk about the races the week after, hopefully. Almost all of them have been the week after except for one, to talk about the Southeast Gassers race, kind of how everything went down that previous weekend, how the race itself was, and then kind of gives us an update on who won the races and then kind of the point standings. And we just come off the one down in Shadyside this past weekend, and we were lucky enough to be there and actually do some videoing for this one. So I know a little bit of what went on, but I'm going to kind of turn it over to Randy here and let him get into it.
Well, I mean, you were there. It was just, the crowd was amazing. We had our largest crowd ever. I thought it was probably Shadyside's largest crowd, but I guess it's probably maybe their third largest crowd.
Yeah, there was a pile of people. There wasn't a place to stand hardly.
No, it was standing room only, and we had 96 cars there. We have 96 cars plus, we've got a driver and two crew that come with each car. Well, they don't get counted in that.
Oh, really? So
that's near 300 more right there, and so it was. The weather was just absolutely beautiful all day. It was chilly that morning. I went in on Thursday, and I think Friday morning it was like 24, and Saturday morning 25.
Yeah,
but it warmed up quick.
It did. Yeah, because we got there about 9, and it was probably in the low 30s when we got there. But yeah, it warmed up super fast. Yeah,
we the 96 cars. I think is what showed up for us. So we had a good turnout. I think the most we've ever had is 103 or something like that.
Okay, it was really close to that one too.
And just I guess basically the big thing that kind of set us back to start with was our scales failed.
Yeah.
And that put us to having to use their scales there, but praise God they had scales.
Yeah, that's true.
If it hadn't been for that, we would have been using manual scales, and jacking the cars up or something, to get them under all four wheels. But it worked out. Their scales was a little off, but we just compensated for that. And not saying that their scales were off. They weren't the same as ours.
Compared to yours, right.
Yeah, ours beat up and down our wonderful highways, so that's probably what's wrong with them now.
There's no telling how many hundreds and maybe thousands of miles that those have went this year, just the scales themselves.
Yeah. and that's where, we had a problem in Mississippi, and it was because, that it's just the roads are so bad.
Right.
It's what happens to them. But we've got a fix for that. I talked with Wayne Swafford. He's going to do some things to them over the winter here. I'm going to do some rewiring, and we'll get that all straightened out, and hopefully we'll be good after what Wayne does to them. I think it'll help them out on travels.
Perfect.
And but that kind of threw a hitch into everything. And what we did was Angela, she came up with an idea on how to do it, and so we didn't weigh everyone. We weighed different cars throughout the day, and it worked out really well. Thank her husband Matt. He went to the ticket booth, and she was radioing him, telling him which car had to weigh.
Had to go. Gotcha.
So they were coming back up, and then that's what sent all the cars in front of the stands.
Right.
Which is really
pretty
cool
deal for the fans, because I thought that too when they were coming from the set. I was like, that's pretty neat, because when they pass, they're passing in front of the biggest grandstand there.
Yeah, so it worked out pretty good. We and it didn't really slow anything down,
right?
As far as that goes. But if you were there and you saw it, we just a few cars into SEGA, and the back window came out of a 55 Chevy, and it just went all over the track. And all you can do is scrape it up.
Yeah,
right. I mean, you got to, and the Buff Boys and their crew, they came in there, and we had some scrapers and shovels and stuff, and I think it was about 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was a pretty healthy little chunk of time there, yeah.
But, I mean, it'd probably been maybe 2 hours at some other places. We've had it happen before. We had it happen at Knoxville one time, and they did a really good job there, got it up real quick. But it's according to how sticky the track is, how hard it is to get up.
Yeah.
And
just real quick before we move on, just in case there's somebody here that's kind of new to the gassers, the reason that scales are so important for you guys, especially, every one of these classes are based off weight per cubic inch. So every one of these cars, based on the cubic inch motor that they have, plus other things that add and subtract, they have a certain specific weight that they're trying to get to, and these cars are trying to hit that as close as they can. Of course, the more weight, the harder it is to get down the track. So that is part of why it was such a big deal that they had to kind of change scales and have to go to a different way of doing it. Right?
Yes, yeah, and you don't want to, we couldn't have went off of the weight they had at their scales, so we brought a car in there that we knew what it weighed, and we just calculated the difference, and so what it was their scales were a few pounds lighter than what we are, and so we just added that to it.
Gotcha. Okay, makes sense.
And so it like I say, it worked out good.
Yeah, I just got to thinking. I thought maybe if somebody's first time tuning in, maybe they might. Why is it such a big deal about the scale? So wanted to let them know.
We'll just go ahead and explain that. Super stock, there's multiple different weights due to the engine combination. All right, and then you get into SEGA, and it's 10 pounds per cubic inch. And there's also, if you run fuel injections, you get some weight off. There's some brakes that you get there. And then B gas is 8 pounds, and A gas is 6 pounds.
Right.
But there's some things there that can make that lower than that 6 pounds, But all in all, it was just an amazing day. It kind of caught us off guard with the crowd and Shadyside.
Really?
Yeah, the crew there. It was just kind of overwhelming. They ended up parking cars outside down the side of the road.
I saw that when we were leaving. That whole field right there next to the road was almost full, even there.
So, in talking with Seth today, they're already planning to that upper level is take it down and fill that valley up out there toward his grandmother's house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you've basically got 3 levels there. So the third level, they're bringing it down to the second level.
Okay.
And that'll all be flat up there.
Wow, that'd be great.
So that'll make a big difference. And also, and I apologize for the seating, that there just wasn't enough seating for everybody to sit down.
That's a good problem to have for you guys. I know it's difficult for the fans, but I know what you're saying.
I'm sure it's very frustrating for the fans. And I apologize, and Shadyside apologizes, but they're already looking at least one set of seats to go in there in front of the concession stands.
Okay.
That seats 1,500.
Oh, wow. Great.
Just, and there could be others too also. But it's like you say, it's a good problem to have, but you've got to solve it.
But you've got to fix it quick. Yeah,
exactly. You've got to fix it. We got to. And we continue to grow, and as we continue to grow, more people's want to see us.
Of course.
So that's where they're at on that, and they're on it. They were looking at they own some of their own equipment, and they were out there today looking at getting it fired up and getting started on moving dirt.
That's awesome.
So
yeah, that's super cool that you got these tracks that are so dedicated to it. That it.
Yeah.
This 2 days later, today's or 3 days later, and they're already making moves to make it better for next year. That's amazing.
And they are dedicated for sure. They own their own car. They've got the 57 Nomad Gold
the Gold Nugget. Yep.
And they made some really good passes this weekend. And speaking of that, we had records broken all 4 of our points-paying classes.
That's awesome. That again speaks to the track right there too. Yeah, that's great.
Great air. We were sea level or less this weekend. So it was good. But I'll just go ahead and go over that. Superstock Jerry Dean. He lowered the record to 6.432, and then Josh Pruitt in the little Fairlane, Youngblood, he first backed up time in the 5s, 5:99 with a 4.
With a 4.
Yeah, 5:99 with a 4. But Ricky Jones in Stud Muffin, he ran a 98 with something in Mississippi and never backed it up.
Couldn't
He
back-
ran a 98 here and wasn't able to back it
Oh
up.
man.
Just circumstances,
Right.
But that, and that's and then Kevin Burt in Second Coming, he ran a 5.63 with a 2 in B gas, and that lowered it from a 66.
Wow, that's a big step then.
Yeah. And the 5.99 was from a 6.01 with a 3.
Oh wow.
So.
Yeah.
And then Todd Blackwell and Slingshot came in, and he ran a 5.22 with a 6, which is 1/1000th faster than Gabe had ran when we were at South Carolina Motorflex.
Wow.
That he was a 5.22 with a 7.
Gosh. Yeah.
So that's
awesome.
But he was fast this weekend. Todd was, and he's been there before. He's run some fast times before that where he wasn't able to back them up.
Right.
And but he hadn't raced with us in a few races, but he comes back in and shows out.
Yeah. Right.
So
with the backup, we've talked about this before with the backup, but do you have to back it up the next pass, or is it just within that event?
Within that event.
Okay, gotcha.
Within qualifying or eliminations.
Gotcha.
Friday night don't count.
Right.
Kevin Burt run faster than that on Friday night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And probably others too. I don't really see the times on Friday night.
Right.
That's we don't even have Angela in the tower on Friday night. It's just the track usually takes care of that.
Makes sense.
Unless someone shows me a ticket or tells me, I don't really know what they run.
Right.
On Friday night, but that puts all 3 of our guest classes into 5s.
That's wild.
And we've got we got 4 tenths between A and B basically, and then we've got 3 tenths between B and C, and then we got 3.5 tenths between C and Superstock now.
Yeah, and for someone like outside listening to that, you go, 4/10. That's really not that. That's a mile for what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
3 and 4/10. It's a mile between the classes, but at the same time, it is amazing that you can have that many cars, that close.
It is. It is. These guys work hard at it. Though.
Yeah.
They all, it's amazing how hard they really work to do this.
I mean, if you follow them on social media, and if you haven't, go, every one of these names and these cars that we've mentioned, pretty much all of them have some sort of social media. Go follow them. I mean, this is a lifestyle. What these guys are doing. This is not just they don't just take the car home and leave it in the trailer and then bring it back for the next race. No, it's a full-time job just to run this.
It sure is. If just going back to Todd Blackwell, as far as I know, I didn't really get to talk to them much. I did talk to him a little bit, but as far as I know, he's still running par horsepower with Scott Duggins, 477, I think. No, he's smaller than that now. But anyway, he's par. And then Kevin Burt, I'm not sure who his engine and builder is, but I know he's running one-way technology heads and everything on that car.
Right.
So the Jeff Jones stuff there, and then that's some really good stuff there. Josh Pruitt, that was a new engine in his car. And that's Dwayne Bush helps them on theirs, does their engine or whatever. And then I'm not sure who Jerry Dean's does Jerry Dean's engine either. He's from the Dennis Mitchell clan down in Alabama.
Okay, gotcha.
Dennis Mitchell from a modified days back years ago.
Gotcha. Okay.
But he's running one-way super stock heads.
Okay.
It's like the one-way heads in the gas classes have a SEGA part number.
Oh, really?
It's a SEGA legal head.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
And the same with the super stock head. It's a super stock legal SEGA super stock legal head.
Oh, okay.
That Jeff Jones and One Way Technology does. He and Chris up there, they're doing a good job on that.
Gotcha.
Well, there's a lot of their product out there for us. But consolation race this weekend, it turned out really well. What we did this weekend, last race we put everybody back in after the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Then just ran a race within a race, basically.
Right.
And that was because of a low car count in
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi. It's just so far away. We didn't have, but I think 57, 58 cars showed
Gotcha.
up. This race we had 96.
Mm-hmm.
But, we've been putting 2 cars back in. We went ahead and put 4 and had a semifinal and a final.
Okay, yeah.
Which worked out great.
Right.
I really like doing it that way, and we'll look at doing that some more. But we had Roger Richards, the photographer that's there. He does a lot of our stuff. He does a lot of NHRA stuff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have a sponsor for this. Thought we were going to have a sponsor, and it ended up falling through. And I put a post out about we didn't have a sponsor, and it wasn't 2 minutes that Roger jumped in and gave us half of it.
That's awesome.
And then Kevin Dwyer come in. I think you met Kevin.
I did. Yep.
Kevin Dwyer come in, and Kevin does a lot for us too. He takes care of the trophies, and he's a lot of times he's put money in for different things and stuff over the years, and he's made some trophies and for some of the exhibition classes and stuff, and just donated them.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
he was a super nice guy.
Oh, he is. He is a great guy. We spent a little time with him on Friday night. West Virginia Bones, Carl Claymore, and Cindy Brown treated Tara and us to some real Cajun Louisiana
Yeah, you
gumbo.
told me that was going to happen. Yeah,
boy, it was good. It was really good. And then she slipped me a bowl to take back motorhome with me.
That's good.
But it was good. I really liked it and enjoyed it, and thank her for that. But then Roby Merrick, G-Force.
Mm-hmm.
I come riding through, I guess, Friday evening, and he hollered and he said, "Hey, did you get all the money for the consolation?" And I said, "No, we didn't." He said, "How much you need?"
That's
and so
great.
he just peeled it out and handed it to me, you know. So there we were. We had it all.
Perfect.
So that's just the kind of deal it is, I mean, if it's just amazing how people will step up.
Yeah.
And we also had a deal going on this weekend with on Friday night where Rod Bergner and Ernie were doing a match race for Cherokee Children's Home, I think it was.
I heard something about that in the driver's meeting, I thought, but I didn't know the details of it.
Yeah, and it ended up, I think over $4,000 was raised for that children's home for the kids' Christmas this year.
That's awesome.
Christina Bish, she heads that up, and she does a great job with it. And but it was just, it's just a great thing for those kids.
Mm-hmm.
At one time, they brought them there and took some of them for a ride in the cars. Let them ride up to the staging lanes with them and things like that.
That's
so
great.
it was a really good deal for those children. And but the last count I heard was over $4,000.
That's awesome. That's great.
I heard that one driver went up and handed them $1,000. So it's just, it's really good stuff. That's just the kind of group this is.
Yeah, it is. That is for sure. If that's anything that I've learned about this deal over the past since we've been involved with it, man, just everybody there is just so friendly. Mm-hmm. I feel like anybody that I walked up to ask to talk to them, to interview them for the video for this week, absolutely, give me just a second, let me finish this, but I'm right on to it, and it makes my job, if you call it a job in quotations, easier because when you come into a situation and you feel like you can pretty much ask them whatever you need to ask them to get them to open up, and it's just it's great.
This is my 4th year here, and there's been a couple of heated moments over the years, but it's just like there was one this weekend, and it was a confusion. Someone didn't listen in the driver's meeting, and I went and said something to them about something, and they kind of came back at me, and I went back at them, just a little bit, and then the next thing I know, he's standing beside me on the line apologizing.
Right.
But that's just the type of deal it is.
Exactly.
It's kind of like you and your sister.
It's exactly what I was about to compare it to. It's family. You get along. Sometimes you don't get along. It's just how it is.
Yeah. But the consolation race, Superstock, Bryant Dalton ended up taking the win in that. And C-Gas was Jared Perdue, B-Gas, Dennis Shepard, and A-Gas, Chase Howard.
Okay.
So
this is in the consolation race.
Yeah, the consolation race. Yeah. And like I say, we put 4 back in. And it was a really good deal. And just like I say, I think we'll probably do that some more because that gives it a little better feel.
Right.
You know, to go up there in the semifinals. And we ran them first in the semifinals, so that gives the other guys time to cool off.
Keep cooling off.
Same thing in the finals.
Right.
You know, it gives a little break there, and takes a little time. You know, we still got something going on the track for the fans and stuff. And, you know, I mean, we had some downtime.
Right.
I mean, you know, there was just, you know, I mean, we had a rear end come out of corn pop, and then
right on the line, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the one? Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it happens. I mean,
Oh,
you know,
for
that's not the
sure.
first time I've seen the exact same thing happen.
No, not a complaint.
Yeah.
That I was just yeah.
And then we had a couple of engines blow, and we had the glass come out, and just a couple of different things. And then we had a breaker throw in the tower and
really?
shut the tree down for just a minute. But Seth and I'm pretty sure it was Seth, maybe Zach, one of them, they were dead on it, you know, just right on it, and they had it back up in just a few minutes.
Awesome.
So it worked out really well. We would have been through by probably 7:30. You know, 7:30 in that area, but we were through at 9:30.
Yeah.
You know.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
You know, you guys started at noon, right?
Yes.
And to do all that you guys do, yeah, not bad at all.
But I mean, just like we've talked before, you go to a lot of drag races and there's a lot of dead time on the track. Well, the only dead time we have on the track is something happens.
It's something breaks, exactly.
You know,
yeah.
so, and you know, we've been blessed all year long. We haven't had a whole lot happen.
Because I remember Quayne came out at one point during one of the oil downs and said, you know, we've just about had as many oil downs today as we've had all year. Like we've been really fortunate with it.
Yeah, sure have. But and then going into AFX, Robert Peffley and the little dart with the Hemi in it, he takes a win in AFX again. I'm not sure. That's 3 or 4 wins, I think, for him.
That's awesome.
And but that's, you know, again, that's an exhibition class. It's an up and growing class. There's several cars out there coming.
I talked to Rocky while we were there. We did an interview with him, and I didn't know a lot about the AFX class. You know, we've talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
He said there's only like a 3 or 4 year window, really, to fit those cars in. So that's part of why it's been slow to grow. You know, I had no idea that it went from kind of like Gasser style into this AFX into funny cars that quick. I mean, the transition was super fast.
Well, and another thing there, I mean, you know, they changed so quick.
Yeah, he said that too.
You know, I mean, you had the car that's like Rocky's and Allen's, and then they just morphed or whatever into different cars. You know, just totally different style of cars, all the way into the floppers, I guess they called them. You know, and
right.
and then it all went real quick.
Yeah.
So it's really a hard class to get to where they're not going to be the
balanced.
same.
Yeah. It's hard to balance it. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense too. I didn't think about that.
You know, I mean, you know, like the dart of Roberts is a lot different than like Rocky's Nova.
Because he said that when those cars were popular, like 63 or so, he said, I think that was kind of like when it started. And there was like a 3 or 4 year period, and he said that they were changing them every week. Like every week they were making changes and improvements to make them faster. I mean, that would be difficult, you know.
And two, we talk about the little 7-inch tire on the Superstock cars. Well, they've got a 9-inch tire on the AFX cars.
Yeah, that's true.
And they walk around out there.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, you see them moving around, and it's exciting to watch them.
Yeah, because he said that was a comment that he made, is that it was his uncle that drove the Dixie Twister car. Do I have that right?
Rocky's father.
Rocky's father drove. Okay, sorry. Okay,
yeah.
He was saying that he didn't even really like that car because it handled so poorly. There was so much power to it, and so much he had to drive it. So he said he didn't even really love that car when it was originally built. You know, so makes sense.
Yeah, and then they went on. Rocky actually, I'm not sure, but they've got a 71 split bumper.
Okay.
Camaro funny car also that was
really?
a Dixie Twister that they show.
Okay.
It's gold.
I think it's gold, right? Okay,
Yeah,
I saw
gold.
a picture of it. Yeah, I saw a picture of all. They had it on like a ramp truck. That on the ramp truck, and then had the Dixie Twister on the trailer behind it. Yeah, that was a super
and there's
cool picture.
as far as Alan's father goes, there's some other cars out there that I'm not sure if they're a real car or whether they're replicas of the Fords that he had.
Gotcha.
See,
Okay.
they were brothers, and one drove factory Ford, one drove back factory Chevrolet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's and it's an up and growing class. I mean, we've got the '65 GTO coming. We've got another Comet coming, or a Comet coming. They're working on it probably any time now. I know they've already done some work to it, maybe, but I don't know where the Pontiac's at. But I did hear rumor this weekend of maybe a Nova wagon AFX.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But that's just a rumor.
Right, of course, yeah.
But that it'd be cool to have a AFX wagon.
Yeah,
out
it would.
there.
That would be really neat.
Yeah. But H-Gas, Robert Frazier again, black and blue Barracuda. Had a lot of trouble in there in the H-Gas class this weekend. Doug Loudermilk didn't show because he didn't get his car fixed. He broke a gear in Mississippi. Then we had Larry Noel thought he was going to show up, but he had some problems on the dyno with his. And then we had Todd Hines with his problem with the breakage on the line.
Yep.
And then we had Scott Partee breaking engine on the big end.
On the big end, yep.
Yeah. And it broke above the diaper. You try, and then it's still somehow they still can do it. And I mean, but they've apologized like crazy, but there's no need for an apology.
What do you do?
What I mean? It's just it wasn't like they went out there to do it, and it just happened. You know, I mean, you're stressing everything to the limit.
Every time,
things are going to break.
Yeah,
you just
when Quayne said that you guys had only had a handful of old downs all season, I got to thinking, I was like, man, that's really amazing in of itself, because
it is.
Like I said, some of these cars, I mean, you were really within the limits that you're restricted to, and you're pushing it every single pass.
Yeah, and they're getting every ounce of horsepower out of them they can.
Absolutely.
So they're pushing the limits every way they go. And until I went to work doing this 4 years ago, I didn't realize how violent the cars are on the line. I mean, just how much force they are on the
and it's like instant shock. It just hits every bit of it.
Guys are leaving it. I mean, some of the big blocks are leaving lower, but you got small blocks leaving at 7 to 11 probably.
Yeah, right.
And but it's it's just amazing that they don't break.
That's it.
More.
Exactly. Yeah, it really is. That speaks very highly of the parts manufacturers.
I had a friend of mine talking, said recently, he said, man, those cars aren't period correct. And I said, man, if they were period correct, they would be like we were back when you had the Camaro and I had the Chevelle. I said, we'd be breaking Muncies every week. Every week. Sometimes twice a week.
Right. Right. Yeah, you could put them in just as fast as you could take them out, pretty much.
Yeah. So I mean, it wouldn't be good if all the running gears were period correct.
Right.
It wouldn't be worth watching. So I mean, unless you had a 300 horsepower engine in them, and you're still going to break a Muncie with 300 horsepower.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So that's why they put top loaders behind Chevrolets back then.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And then they still broke.
They still broke. Yeah, you'll always find the limits.
Yeah, but I feel like I need to mention Andrew Wiebe in the 47 milestone.
Yep.
Did you get a chance to look at the car?
I did look at the car. It was immaculate.
It's a work of art.
It really is.
It is just.
And he said he had done it all basically himself, all the body work stuff. I put it in the video. I have a video coming out this week from when we went down there in Shadyside, and I put in there there wasn't a single piece out of place on this car.
No.
It was as near to perfect as you could get.
Yeah, it's got the chrome around the windshield, the chrome down the sides, and I mean it's just a pristine car.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I only saw his first pass in qualifying, but that first pass looked pretty darn good in qualifying. I don't know what he ran, but
I can't remember what he ran, but it wasn't it was nothing to I mean I can't remember, but he was faster than several of the cars there. I'll put it
for
that
sure.
way. And
really good wheels up. I thought when that car
up.
when he took off, I was like, man, he's got it. He gets it.
He had some issues when he got there. He had some carburetor issues, but from what I understand, carburetor Bob helped him, and Bill Revels loaned him a set of carburetors, and he came out there and
that was when I walked up to him to talk to him. I said, I'd really love to talk to you if you've got time. And he said, I really want to, and I'd really love to. I'm trying to swap these carburetors so I can run. I said, I'm out of your way. Don't you worry one bit. Yeah. But that was kind of going back to kind of speaking to the group of the gassers. When we were there, it was probably when I walked up to the car, it was not even 10 o'clock yet, and there was a crowd of people around him, and everybody was there, giving him advice on what he needed to do and trying to help him.
He was pitted right beside Briley Stott, which his father is Chris Stott, Quane's brother,
right?
And they were right there with him. Tom helped a lot. Carburetor Bob. Tom White, I should say. They all helped out and helped him a lot. And I actually saw a post today where I can't remember where he was at, Montana or somewhere, on his way back home.
Wow.
Where he was thanking everybody for all their help.
Right. And just so we know, if you didn't turn in last week to talk about it, Andrew is from British Columbia, and he drove what was going to end up being total about 5,800 miles round trip to come to Shadyside and run this car that he's worked on for about 5 years to get ready to come. And like I said, super nice guy, and that is next level commitment to do this. 5,800 miles for one event. Yeah, I'm hoping to see him back at some more, so I'd like to talk to him and kind of get his story.
50 hours.
50
one way.
Hours.
That's what it took him, 50 hours.
100 hours of travel time to come to Shadyside and back.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's wild.
Yeah, it's amazing that and then we've got others too. We got people that they're not running every race. We got guys out of New York. We got Greg and Leah out of Wisconsin, and they've ran every race, 30,000 miles this year.
Wow.
They've drove 30,000 miles, and they've been a big asset to Southeast Gassers. I think they are 100% dug in.
It seems like every time I see that car, it just gets faster. It looks faster. Again, we don't have the scoreboards to kind of go off of, but man, it looks really fast.
It's getting faster and faster, and they're dedicated. They're committed. He won he won around this weekend, and so they're improving every race,
right?
And they're doing a lot of social media stuff to promote Southeast Gassers and everything. And stuff,
constantly, almost constantly, they're talking about it. Yeah. But
and then also I mentioned Briley. Briley is 15 years old, motocross champion. Done a lot of stuff in motocross, and. After a few rounds on Friday night, they had some transmission problems, and he was just doing second gear, and skipping third and just driving on down. And then they got the transmission changed, put a G-force in it, and that changed everything.
Really?
He came back out, and he looked really good. He looked like a veteran. On doing his burnout, pulling up and staging up and everything. He did well.
That's awesome.
I think he ended up meeting Ken Rainwater in the first round, and of course he lost his first round there. But just to do as good as he's done in his first race, it's just. I think it's good things.
Just runs in the blood, doesn't it?
I guess so. Actually, I talked to Mitch earlier, and they were really, really, pleased with what he did and how he handled himself and everything. It was really good. Probably going to see him in a better car if he decides he wants to do this.
Right.
He's all about motorcycles, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And
speaking of that, through the interviews this week that we did this weekend, talking to all the drivers, it is amazing the backgrounds of some of these people. Motorcycles, dirt track racing, and then they all, and the story almost always goes, I did this for this amount of years, because like Leslie, he raced motorcycles, he said. I think Todd mentioned that he raced motorcycles as well at one point, and then the story always goes, I did this, and then I came to a Southeast Gassers race, and I said, I've got to do this, and it's so interesting to, kind of see the diversity of people's backgrounds in it.
And it's just one after another. I probably need to try to investigate that and get some information on just exactly where everybody came from sometime, and do that. We were just like we were talking about Poppy Allison, Ron Allison, his background's legend cars and jet skis.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different stuff out there that people come on. Spenny Davis, he's won multiple championship on round track stuff.
Right.
He came to one of these and sold all of his stuff and built a gasser.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And now he's ran Superstock this year, is going back to gas. He's putting an axle under the little Falcon and going back to the gas classes.
There you go. That's great.
So it's just, people get hooked on it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We've got several that was circle track and ended up here.
Yep.
But I guess going into Superstock, Jerry Dean runnered up 6 times this year.
Oh, gosh.
Runnered up 6 times this year and pulled off the win this weekend.
Good for him.
His first win. He'd been in 7 finals. So, gets his first win. And he also took the record. He ran the 6.432.
Yeah.
So he took the record, small block Chevy. And then Rick Varner was runner-up in that final, and of course Rick had already backed up a championship from last year. So he's a 2-time champ in Superstock.
Right.
First time we've ever had a 2-time champ in Superstock.
Mm-hmm.
And he ran good all weekend. He went all the way to the finals. He took out some good cars on the way.
Right.
To get there. And Superstock, we're still struggling with the rules package for next year. Quayne and I had a good conversation about that yesterday, and the Peffleys are looking at it also, and we got to get something done here in the near future so everybody can go. But
just trying to get it balanced. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
gotcha.
Get it balanced out. Where everybody's got an equal chance.
Mm-hmm.
So, we something will be coming soon.
Okay.
Hopefully in the next week or so, we'll put something out on that in the next week or so. And then SEGAS, Josh Pruitt come in, new engine this week, but he's ran good the last 3 races. He's been right there, all over the record. He comes in, takes a win, and gets the record at a 5.994, and runner-up was Tim Hall. Tim Hall is a 2-time champion. Tim's military, and he got called up a couple of years and missed some races. And if he hadn't got called up, if he had just showed up for those 2 years, for those races that he missed while he was called up, he would have had enough points and just show-up points to win the championship.
Really?
So it's very easily he could be 4-time champion.
4-time champ. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
Yeah, and he's up to 17 wins.
Wow.
He's not far off the most wins.
Okay.
Also.
What is the most wins?
19, I think.
Okay.
I think it's 19, and he's
got
got
who
17. Kenneth Phillips.
Kenneth Phillips.
Kenneth
Okay.
Phillips, Silver Streak 2.
Okay.
He got another win this year, and Kenneth's been a little off. Kenneth's a threat anywhere we go if he can go straight.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a little off. He's had a hard time getting down the track.
Gotcha.
And he's small block in a big block world in A-gas. But I still think that, if he gets hooked up, he's still probably faster than the rest of them.
Gotcha.
And then heard rumor today that they could be a small block coming to A-gas.
Okay.
A different car. Maybe another car that's already in there could possibly end up with a small block in it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and then there's a possibility that there may be a small block that's in there going to a big block.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes.
Sounds like there'll be quite a few changes in the off season.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the small blocks myself. I like small block. I always have liked the small block.
It's hard to beat them. It is hard
I've
to
owned
beat
a few
'em.
big blocks, but I always liked the small block. Your dad and yourself and Doug and I all went over to Drag Week.
Yeah. Yep.
Tim Hall's won Drag Week three times.
Okay.
3 times.
Three times,
He's ran it 5 times, runnered up twice, and won it.
That's a
3 times.
really good record. That's a jam up record there.
Yeah.
3 wins and 2 runners up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Tim's a racer. He's he's the one in SEGA that you've got to deal with.
Right.
It's hard to get around him for a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Floyd, Leslie's won a SEGA championship since I've been there, and then Larry Floyd won a championship, and then Tim's won 2. So
gotcha.
So in my tenure, I guess there, Tim's been the one to beat.
Right.
So if you can beat Tim, you might win a championship.
No, makes sense.
Yeah. But going to B-Gas, Daniel Haynes, that's 4 in a row for him.
Man.
And he's runner-up in the points. This is the 2nd year in a row he was runner-up in the points. Kobe Welch was champion last year, and he was runner-up to Kobe.
Gotcha.
Man,
somebody must have done really, really well to go for someone to have 4 wins and only runner-up. Who ended up with the championship?
Ted McKee.
Okay, gotcha.
Ted McKee, and I talked to Ted today. He's already working.
Yeah, of course.
He's working. He had the record going into Shadyside,
Gotcha.
But he called me today, and he's already planning next year.
That's great.
So I expect him to be someone to be reckoned with next year also.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Fulton horsepower for him. So
I saw Gene walking around down there on Saturday.
Yeah,
I guess it wasn't too far of a drive for him.
No, Gene was there. I talked to him a little bit up on the line there, or beside the line and stuff there. It's just always good to see Gene there.
It's just incredible kind of think about the stuff that he's done and been involved in and all that stuff. And he's standing there on the line. It's pretty neat to be near somebody like that, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
And a lot of times you look over and Tommy Mooney's standing over there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's big names.
I didn't see Tommy there this weekend. He may have been there, but I didn't see him. But everybody knows what Tommy's done and stuff. So, but Kobe Welch was runner-up for this race. He ran a good race. Always good to see the Welches there, and he was the 22 champ, as I just mentioned.
Right.
But I didn't really get to talk to him much, just spoke to him. But I don't know what their plans are for next year. But anytime they come, they're a threat.
Right.
Just like I say, they went to the finals, and they're always a threat anywhere they show up at. I guess probably since Kobe's 2nd year in this, so he's they do really well. And then coming down to A-Gas, the championship, it was tied coming in. We talked about that if Gabriel or Leslie slipped in the first round, that would open the door for Chase or Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it ended up Chase and Ben went out in the first round.
Oh, man.
And Leslie and Gabriel won the first round.
Yep.
And we had talked about Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell, Mark, Mike, whatever his name is. Marv. He always gets when he was doing the live feed, he'd always get my name wrong.
Get your name
wrong.
wrong.
I was just messing with him a little bit. But he had an outside shot at it.
Right.
If there would have been enough rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys both went out the first round. So, that took them out of the deal. And then Gabriel and Leslie ended up meeting each other.
Yep.
Meeting each other in the second round. So, the championship's
that was
right
it.
Here. This is it.
Because they went in this race tied, if I remember right.
They tied, but Gabriel had the lead because he got there first.
Gotcha.
And I didn't even talk to Leslie Friday or Saturday. He was pretty sick.
Mm-hmm.
I think you talked to him.
I did, yeah.
And he was pretty sick. Matter of fact, he called me Saturday night after the race, and then didn't even remember talking to me on Monday when I
Right.
talked to him. So he
Yeah,
was
when I talked
pretty
to him on
sick.
Saturday morning, you could tell he didn't feel
Yeah.
too good. He was still very welcoming and still talked to us and did an interview and
But,
everything. It was very nice of him.
I mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean, he ate a sandwich on the line.
Yeah,
Gabe was
right.
gone.
Yep.
And I think Gabe.
I think in the video that I saw that he put up, he even said something to that effect. This is what it looks like when you screw up, or something
Yeah,
like that. Is what the caption said.
Yeah, I think that he was, and that's not normal for Leslie.
Right.
I mean, not taking anything away from Gabriel.
Yeah.
I mean, if they had left side by side, it could have still,
went either way,
It could have went
50-50,
either
yeah.
way. They're two very equal cars, but I think that maybe he felt so bad and wasn't on his game or whatever, but. I think I really, in looking at it, I mean, it's almost like he heard Gabe leave, then he left.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, it was a good year for both of them. Leslie started out the season with a blown engine at the first race.
Okay.
And then he had some more engine trouble throughout the year. Then I think it was at Knoxville he caught Gabriel in points.
Okay.
And I think it was Knoxville. But anyway, they ended up just about caught, just whatever it was, whatever the spread was at Knoxville. So it became a battle then. And
I think when I talked to him, this is not the first time they've kind of ended up right here together in points either. I think you mentioned it 2 or 3 different times,
Yes,
including this one, that
Yeah.
it's come down kind of to the last race, and it was him or Gabe.
Well, I think it was that way in 21 when Gabe won the championship, and then he won it in 22.
Yep.
And then now Gabe has won it again in 23.
Right.
And those are 2 fine cars. I mean, there's no expense spared on those cars, and
Right.
and labor either. I mean,
Yeah.
they spend a lot of time working on those cars. So it came down to, those 2 again.
Yeah, right.
So it's really, the top 5, any one of those are championship cars.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say the top 5 for sure in that was. But speaking of Mitch came in there in 5th place, and he ended up in 3rd place.
Really? Made
Yeah.
up 2 positions, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
He passed Ben and Chase because they went out the first round. He went all the way to the finals.
Okay.
And he was out on Gabriel he was out on Gabriel and got loose and had to pedal it a little bit, and Gabriel
just
drove
enough.
on by.
Yep.
But that was his 3rd runner-up this year, and he ended up 3rd in points, but no win. I mean, it's sad that he didn't win. I mean, I hate that he didn't win this year, but I mean, if he ends up in that car or some other car next year, he'll still be a threat.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mitchell's good, but Mitch won several races years ago. He drove a 33 Willis, and then he also drove Steve Dunn's car for a little bit, and he's got 6 wins.
Gotcha.
Overall in this. So
you watch the videos, the in-cars, and when you talk to them and kind of everything that go into it, it's really, really hard to win one of these races. You know what I mean? Like especially in when you're up there in the A level or in the A gas level where these guys are really, like you said, it's. I mean, you pull up. Some of them can pull up next to each other, and it's 50-50. You can flip a coin, and just a little difference in each pass can make the difference in them. And this is a really hard deal to do.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's hard to win rounds in here. I mean, just like the Joker, I mean, Greg and Leah, they came down here with top-notch equipment, a lot of experience and everything. I mean, they did really well up north in that car.
Right.
And then they come down here, and it's hard to win a round.
It's hard.
It's
really hard.
But he likes the competition.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, so
that's the only way you get better.
I think he ended up winning 3 rounds this year, running every race.
Really?
You know, and that's a top-notch car, top-notch team.
Oh yeah, it is.
You know, but Mitch's the same way.
Yeah.
You know, Mitch never won a race, but he did go to the finals 3 times. You
right.
know, so, but yeah, it's been a really good year. You know, it was really an abnormal year. The points championships were tied up last race.
Mm-hmm.
You know, normally it comes down to this race.
Gotcha.
You know,
yep.
so, but just things happen. You know, I mean, we Southeast Gasser's been here for 12 years now.
Yeah.
And this is the first time ever we've had backup champions.
Yeah. And you did it in 2 different classes this year.
2 different classes. The Super Stock class, this is its 5th year, I think, the first time in it. But it's 12 years for the other classes,
right.
you know, and it's the first time we've had a backup champion in it.
Yeah.
You know. But we still didn't get one in A and we didn't get one in B.
Right.
You know. And so it's Gabe's second championship, but he didn't.
Not in a row.
Not in a row.
Right.
And I forgot to mention the poster over here.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Thanks to Stephen and Southeast Gasser's Gear for that.
Yeah, thanks so much. I was able to speak to Stephen, and I'll say it again here, but man, we really appreciate them. These things are going to look great. We'll get them in some frames and get them hung up here.
Yeah, he does a really good job on them. I don't know what we'd do without Stephen. You know, I mean, he does a good job on all of his apparel and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, if you're interested in any of Southeast Gasser's Gear, southeastgassersgear.com. You know.
Yeah. Head over to their website. If you follow them, they have their own social media page as well. They
yes.
get an easy link to their website and stuff too.
Yeah.
But I do want to compliment them on this one. I have loved all the posters this season, but this Shadyside one is next level.
Yeah,
it looks.
It is.
It looks amazing. It's just it's a really cool one. Awesome color combination and everything.
And it could be for him that it's got a 55 Chevy on it.
I mean, that don't hurt anything. I told Leslie that when I interviewed him. I said, my family kind of has an affinity for 55 Chevy, so you kind of stole our heart with this car.
Yeah, but that's a really nice car there too. Ben Helms and family, another one of those great families in here. Pucker Time, he puts on a show for us. He stands her up.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Fulton horsepower in that in our car now. You know, we got Chase Howard on there. Chase was a championship contender until the first round.
Right.
You know,
right.
And he has worked really hard since Mississippi to try to get the handle on that car, and they just never did. Never could get the handle on it. I mean, you know, I don't know how many practice passes that he has made.
Really?
You know, and again, that's another good family. You
Mm-hmm.
know, his whole family is just great people, and so. You know, we look forward to next year to see how things go.
Yeah, we're excited about it. I hope that we'll be back. Hopefully, we'll be able to come in here with Randy and talk about this stuff next year. And we've been really enjoyed it. And I want to tell you again, I said it a little bit at the beginning, but man, we really appreciate you picking us and letting us come in and making us part of it. We've enjoyed it, and I've met some awesome people. I've really enjoyed getting to know the Lowhorns, you know, through this, and Adam and Mike they're good guys, and like I said, everybody that I've run into at these races, and everybody that I spoke to at Knoxville when they saw me at Shadyside, it's like they've known me forever. Hey, Jake, how's it going? How are you? You know, I'm glad you're back. Glad you guys got to come today and all that stuff. And that makes what I do and makes me enjoy it even more, and makes it easy to do because you're excited to be there with them. So
well, I appreciate the opportunity to do this, and so does Quayne and all of Southeast Gassers.
Absolutely.
You know, there was a multitude of people came up to me this weekend and saying, "Hey, is the Shift Point guys here?" You know, and then I mentioned it in the drivers' meeting. You know, and they were asking me if you were going to be there and stuff, but they. A lot of them really appreciated the stickers that I gave them.
Good, perfect, good.
Stuff,
I'm glad they did.
And
I'm gonna tell the story on Dad. I don't know if he's gonna love it that I tell it on here, but I'm gonna do it anyway. He said it was so funny. He came up to me. I mean, you know, this is still very new to us, the YouTube and kind of putting out what we do out into the world like we do is very new still. You know, we've been kind of confined to this shop for a lot of years. But anyway, he was walking down the pits apparently, and I was off interviewing somebody or something, and he said he heard somebody go by and look like double take back to him and said, "Hey, there's shift points." And I was like, "That's cool. Like you gotta appreciate stuff like that." So I don't know who it was, but apparently somebody recognized him and associated him with shift points. He told me, he was like, "That was pretty neat," you know. So I think he always worries about that coming off like cocky or egotistical or something, but I was like, no, that's a cool thing, you know. It means we're doing something neat. So
Star,
Star. We'll start calling him Superstar. He'll really love that. But this has been a good deal, and this YouTube channel and this podcast and everything we've done this year has far exceeded my expectations, more than I ever thought it would get to this year with what we do. But I've really enjoyed it.
Well, good deal. I wished I'd had more time to spend and with you guys this weekend, but it was just it's just every moment. I mean, there was a lot of passes that I never even saw happen this weekend. You know, those things happen on the track because I was here, there, and everywhere.
You were, because I think maybe the whole time, from the time we got to the gate till we left, we maybe talked to you maybe 10 minutes, maybe. You know, if it was that much, and that's just part of it. You know, and we take no offense. we know how it. We know we watch and see what you're into, so we understand.
The scale deal really set me back. You know, I mean, I worked on it Friday. I worked on it again Saturday morning, and we just couldn't get a handle on it. One time it would read right, the next time it would read low, the next time it would read heavy. Yeah. And I knew we couldn't go into the race that way. Right. I talked to Seth and Zach, and they said, and I had already talked to Lenny, and they said, you know, ours are fine. You know, right. So we knew there would probably be a little difference. You know, so. But we're gonna get ours fixed. We're taking care of that over the winter here.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All good?
We're good.
Good. Perfect. All right. I just want to give a couple shout outs here at the end to kind of get your gasser fixed through the off season. I saw that Dylan in DH Media, he said he's got a bunch of reels and videos and stuff from this past year that he's going to be kind of trickling out over the off season. So make sure to go give him a follow. He does awesome work, and you can go if this podcast kind of wet your whistle, you can go back and watch his videos of the full weekend kind of recaps that he does on his videos on Southeast Gasser's YouTube channel. Again, awesome stuff.
It is.
And then make sure to go follow Southeast Gassers and Southeast Gassers Gear on all of their social medias too, because they're putting out stuff. And I think I saw Steven still had some of the poster sets. So he has posters that they make for each one of these events, and he's selling a full combination set. So go check those out because, like I said, these are some really nice posters. If you want one from the whole season at a pretty good deal, I think, what I saw. So
it is a good deal. You know, and speaking of Dylan has done a fabulous job for us this year. He's doing great, getting better all the time.
Yes.
He's.
You can tell he loves it.
He does.
That makes a big difference.
He's. He does an absolutely wonderful job, and if we can just get him to start interviewing people.
That's fair enough. All right, guys. If you found us because of Southeast Gassers, we really appreciate you, and we're really glad you're here. If you want to help us out and kind of let us keep doing this, hit that subscribe button when it pops up in the middle of the screen there. That's, like I said, that's the easiest way to do that. The other thing, kind of plug myself a little bit, on Friday of this week, by the time this is out, it should come out earlier than that. So Friday this week, we have a full video with interviews with a handful of drivers, with passes and different stuff from this past weekend at Shadyside. Go check them out. You know, if you don't mind, go watch it. I'm like this one. I finished it up this morning, early this morning, and I like it. I think it's going to be a good one. So go check that out.
This the one with Holden in it?
This is the one with Holden in it. Yep.
Everybody knows Holden Peffley.
Yep.
So he's interviewed Holden. So
I did. I got to talk to him. And he found me. We were walking through the pits, and he walked up to me and he said, "You're supposed to interview me," because we talked at Knoxville. And I said, "You're absolutely right. I am." I said, "Let's go talk." So we talked to him a little bit. So
he's an exceptional little fellow.
He's a good one. Even my wife, I was editing the video. She was in the background, and she said, "Is that a kid?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Come watch this." She said, "That's a good kid. You can just tell."
Well, they all are. I mean, you know, I just don't. I mean, all of them. You know, his brothers, his sisters. They're great kids.
For sure,
great kids. You know, and they've grew up with Southeast Gassers.
Yeah, I give him a hard time. I asked him who his favorite driver was, and he said it. The Pontiac Chieftain in Superstock. So
Randy Kiefer.
Randy, yes, he.
I may have to talk to him about that.
And I said, I said, "You're picking him over your own dad?" Wow, yeah, I did. It was so funny. So
Kiefer probably paid him to do that.
He might have, you never know. Yeah. He had the shirt on too, so if we might have paid him with the shirt, I don't know. Oh man, but but it was a really good time, and hopefully, like I said, in the off season we'll be doing some stuff too, and we can we'll be kind of talking this up, and we'll let you know when the schedule comes out. I'll put that on our social media too, so whenever that's released, you guys can go ahead and start making plans to kind of beat as many of these events as you can this year or this coming year. So
we've been talking about schedule the past couple of days. I'd say 85% of it's complete.
Okay, perfect.
80% of it's complete. There's a couple of races that's not set yet.
Okay.
But the rest of it is.
So we'll get that out to you. So man, again, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you when the season starts back. Hopefully.
Thank you.